Welcome back, Star Family. Today we explore the subtle energies that arise in relationships, both human and galactic. Through a recent moment of tension, I asked the Pashas about energetic boundaries, emotional awareness, and how to stay in loving alignment. We also explore nourishment, physical and spiritual, and how to flow with life's energies with more trust, discernment, and clarity. These conversations continue to unfold with warmth, humility, and the quiet power of remembering who we truly are. Good morning. I am wondering about the energies involved in the conflict I had with Drake yesterday. For Drake, there is much tension at this time. Understanding each other's boundaries will get easier and clearer this year. We do not wish to speak too much to what others' experience is to be, for we are speculating and do not wish to have impact in others' path without their direct acting or permission. Thank you for clarifying that. Can I ask in a way more related to my perceiving of situations and energies then? Yes, this is a good first shift in thinking. Not coming from what is wrong with so-and-so, but seeing as energy what exists in front of you and in your path. Being more aware, sensitive, open. Feeling into when is the right time to communicate about what. Patience and trusting further, letting go of the details which are not yours. Is there a way for me to perceive some of these boundaries sooner? Yes. If you consider back to the argument yesterday, consider how you may have been pushing against an immovable object, or better we say resistance, pushing against resistance. When one is in flow, this wouldn't happen. Rather, being in flow would have you more easily directed back to what is yours, with which to be energetically involved. Delegation will be important in this partnership as you have broached before. A separating of tasks to reduce the number of tasks each has to deal with will help for a less stressful, less burdenous, more easeful experience. Calling into question others' tasks or responsibilities is generally not helpful, unless there is much stagnation and the pot needs to be stirred. Right now, the pot is being stirred plenty enough. Thank you for these teachings. This is something that I will likely be reflecting on and improving my navigation with. Is there anything you would like to add or segue into? Being more considerate, in a feeling way, not in an overthinking way. Staying in your lane, and making your lane that much more awesome. Consider back to that first long trip with your mother in Acapulco. Remember the tension the first couple days until you released and relaxed. See how you can release and relax now to be a good influence here in this time. Find appropriate ways to check in with others, their feeling around things, without projecting preconceived ideas. Moving on to the next subject, the conversation yesterday morning about sacral energy. You are starting to connect dots in greater succession. Old habits must be broken to explore new energy potentials if that is your desire. I would like to explore new energy potentials. I'm considering the fullness with which I felt from the sharing of one of your energies. Because we are not limiting or closing off, boxing in energy. It is energy that we have access to. We can flow with it, which is a more efficient way, not interrupting the energy. Labeling can be reductionist, therefore boxing in the natural flow, containing it. But in being contained, the majority is lost. Rather, it cannot be held in this way. You are losing the kinetic component, only retaining the chemical component, which you will know from your chemical reactions is not very practical. You can either have heat or grow a tree to cut down and burn for a fire. One of those is a much slower, shall we say, painstaking process, and the tree doesn't like it very much either. You are thinking about this in relation to food. Fruit is a good example of a food, energy being freely given, solar energy as well. Sometimes animals can give of themselves, as you read in Star Crash, so we do recommend, as you had started to conclude on your own, to find sources of meat from animals which had a more free and balanced, in-flow life. For then you will know that their death was at least in greater alignment than a being that was raised to be killed this way, or worse, factory farmed. That is, if you need to eat meat. We are not suggesting to revert fully to a vegan or raw diet, but explore rethinking your portions and choices, eating smaller portions of meat, smaller portions of dairy less often. I will continue to improve my diet. As for food in social situations, nobody is making you eat, or especially nobody is making you eat a particular amount. You can share food in social situations. If the food is not ideal, then have a smaller portion. Don't feel the need to fill yourself up on an inferior food. Have a smaller amount to experience and move on. Discernment when adding food to social situations requires acknowledging the energy of both. It is more nuanced, but not necessarily more complicated. Consider that when you are making food choices for yourself, you have a free rein to decide. In social situations, that decision is either agreed upon or made for you. But because it may be made for you, this actually simplifies your involvement. You can be comfortable and enjoy this simplified involvement. It is given as an opportunity to experience something different, but you needn't be in the habit of overindulging. There are plenty of examples where you can think of where the first few bites of something had a magical quality, but halfway through that was lost completely. Start with a smaller portion and take time to feel into the energy if you do in fact want to experience. We hesitate to even say experience more, for it is the initial experience that is the most profound, with greatly diminishing returns. Get more in tune with where that threshold is, finding it sooner, and moving on. What is your perspective on whether I should pre-plan questions for us to discuss, as in the raw material? Both are valid to be explored. You will have a better capacity for the more philosophical concepts once things have settled down with your daily activities. There is no hurry to arrive at this point. Give yourself permission to trust the process, trust the natural flow of how you are going about things and learning. Others around you are also learning, and patience is required on all sides. We enjoy witnessing your journey. Sending my love and gratitude to you. Would you like to speak of the energies at this time? The energies are conducive to the changes that need to occur to set in motion that which will take place. You're wondering how to improve this channeling and communication of information. You are thinking that it's feeling too limited to what you are already familiar with. Yes, is it out of concern that you will reveal something which I am not meant to be told, for it will distract me from my path at hand? That is a fairly specific assumption, but you don't want to assume. You wish to be told things more clearly. You say it's not that you wish to control, but rather be more open to a greater sharing. You feel we must know more than we are letting on. In a way, but the more you know, the more there is to know, and you realize the more you really don't know. We know more, but wish to be careful with the accuracy of how we are presenting, indeed how a concept is being interpreted. It would be quite easy for us to make bolder claims, but then have those be interpreted to be more specific than we are trying to make out, and therefore inaccurate. We seek to find a balance here in the communication. And know that as this relationship strengthens, we will more be able to convey what we wish to with greater ease and even more accuracy. Then greater detail can be allowed to be introduced. More time and more practice, sure. We consider that once you hit the road, there will be plenty else going on, plenty of new experiences in your daily life, that much of this talk about things external to your planet will fall by the wayside. So, as for the Irma and the Lions of Lyra, we wish to largely, for now, leave that information, those concepts, with what you already know, the sources from which you are directly familiar. They are related to us in different times and different places, but it amounts to gossiping about a distant family member and is hardly relevant. If those sources feel good to you, retain them. But the work that we will be focusing on together is helping you and others to navigate the current energies that are unfolding on your planet. Navigating the day-to-day interactions, connections, guidance, decision-making, for us to be in assistance in bringing about a more easeful outcome. So trust that any perceived weakness in our channeling relationship will be strengthened, and this includes simply becoming more familiar with the subjects and concepts with which we wish to speak. Thank you for explaining that. I really appreciate having your guidance. I feel it helping me each day, getting through what might otherwise be a quite trying time with confidence, knowing I am feeling through and making appropriate decisions. I very much enjoyed our channeling, journaling sessions, connection, and communication. I deeply appreciate you, my family, extended family or not. I am opening up to greater love. I invite you to connect with me in my dreams. I invite you to be more present with me throughout the days as it serves us and others. I'm aware I needn't say goodbye because when I stop typing, it is simply a cessation of that which is directly recorded and not an end to our communication. Thank you, viewers, for following to the end. I encourage you to post in the comments, including any questions you might have for me or the Pashas. If you would like to support this contact, you can like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, go forth in love and joy.